Good morning and welcome everyone. My name is Tamara Nettinger and I am the marketing assistant here at DSD. I have the pleasure of being your host today. I'll be managing the chat and organizer features for this webinar. So if you have any questions or want to interact with us or the marketing team here at DSD, please feel free to use the chat area in this webinar environment or reply to any of the emails you've received from us previously. With that, I also have with us Brenda, who's our senior consultant for Sage 100, along with Abe, who's our business developer manager for HCM, and lastly, Bob, who's our general manager for InSync. So on our agenda today, we're going to start with a welcome, then go over the 2025 Sage Year-End Series. Brenda's going to walk us through the Sage 100 connections, followed by Bob, who's going to discuss the InSync and Sage 100 integration. And then lastly, Abe's going to cover the Simplify Workforce Management and Payroll. Again, please feel free to interact with us through the webinar environment. We want to make the session as impactful and valuable as possible for you today. Just a quick reminder, this session is being recorded, so if you happen to drop or step away at any point, no worries. We'll be sending out the recording afterwards so you don't have to miss anything. So first, our year-end training series is back. This is a great opportunity to register if you have any new hires or just need a quick refresh on Sage year-end processes. We're currently offering a early bird pricing at just $50. So if you are an SLA client, simply connect with your DSD account manager. If you are interested in joining, don't miss out, reserve your spot, and get ready for a successful year end. With that, I'll turn it over to you, Brenda.
Thank you, Tamara. I will share my screen. Okay, so today we are going to discuss Sage Connect. I would like to welcome everybody. We're going to explore Sage Connect, which is a powerful cloud-based extension for Sage 100 that automates accounts receivable and enhances customer self-service. And we will first start off by talking about a few key features and benefits. There is a customer account portal where customers can securely view their account information, invoices, payment history, and transaction records anytime. Research shows that 2/3 of customers prefer using a self-service portal over speaking to a representative, making this feature a must-have for businesses. By enabling customers to manage their own accounts, businesses can reduce the volume of support requests and focus on higher value interactions. Next slide, please. You can send, receive, and track invoices directly from Sage 100 through Paperless Office, eliminating the need for paper-based processes. E-invoicing can reduce processing costs up to 80% compared to traditional methods. Automation reduces manual data entry, minimizing errors and ensuring compliance. Next slide. Payments and invoice interactions are updated in real time within Sage 100. Up-to-date information helps businesses manage cash flow more effectively and make informed decisions. Next slide, please. The platform automates invoicing and payment processes, freeing up staff for more strategic tasks. Built-in tracking and reporting tools provide actionable insights into customer interactions and outstanding receivables. Next slide, please. Sage Connect means stringent security and regulatory standards, ensuring all financial data remains protected. All invoices are properly formatted and securely transmitted, reducing risk and ensuring peace of mind. Stay compliant and secure in an increasingly digital world. Thank you, Tamara. And so with that, we're going to take a look at Sage Connect. But I want to preface by saying
Brenda,
that,
would you mind sharing your screen?
yeah,
Sorry.
thank you. I think I shared it a little bit early there. I apologize. All right, so I want to preface with talking about the sync between Sage 100 and Sage Connect. The sync is an administrative task and can be set to sync in hourly intervals. It is a global feature and provides real-time updates from Sage 100 to the portal. Sage Connect works natively with Sage 100, so there's no need to change your workflow. It's literally plug and play. So with that, we're going to take a look here, and what you can see is after you log in, you will be shown the Sage Connect dashboard, if you will. So on the dashboard, you will be presented with an aging report that gives us the dollar amounts by aging category, just an overall analysis. On the right, you have some information regarding portal activity, and this is interactive, so you can click on these links. So it lists the number of customers with an open balance, tells you who has, how many of your customers have portal access and who has none, and then who has visited or not visited within the last 30 days. Back over on the left, you get a little bit of information about your automated messaging activity. If you click on the preview portal up in the upper left, this will take you to a view as the customer. So we are now previewing the customer portal as this specific customer, Autocraft Accessories, and you can click and choose any of the customers you would like to look at in this view to see what they can see. With Autocraft, it's popping up with an invite button because I have not invited this particular customer to the portal. So if I want to do that from here, I can click on invite, and you can see you can actually send a test to yourself, or you can invite Autocraft Accessories. If I select that to invite them, from here I can send out this template to this actual customer just by clicking the send button. In this case, you can see in the two, there is no email address, so I would have to collect that email address first before I can do anything. But this is what the customer would get. And then when they click on open portal, they would then be able to access Sage Connect and see all of their balances, invoices, payments, etc. If we take a look at Shepherd Motorworks, we see we have a new message, but it's not the same. We can send a message to them from there though as well. So we're looking at their transactions as they would see them. And you can see there's some filters they've given us that we can apply. So what status of invoices would we like to see, open, closed, or both? What type? And what aging category would they like to look at? In this screen, they can select all of their invoices by clicking the invoice number, or they can select one at a time. They can actually export that information to Excel. And you can see here there's a lot of different information regarding their account and their individual invoices. If you see the attachment icon here, that means that invoice has previously been printed to paperless office and possibly even emailed to that customer before. So they can click on that and it will open that invoice for them. They can zoom in to see it, and it's the invoice. It will be a copy of the invoice as originally sent or originally printed to paperless office. From here, they have the ability to click download or to print the invoice if they need it. And then there's also the payments. So we can click on payments, and that customer can see the payments that are on file with us. And if there's a related transaction, it will show up here. And if we click on that, they can see that this payment is related to this invoice number. And this is the amount paid and the balance of the invoice. There's also a little home button up here so they can see just some pertinent information regarding their account with us. If I close that out, I go back to the dashboard. And from here, we're going to take a look at the My Network tab at the top. If I click on my network, it gives me a list of my customers and some information regarding those customers. So you can see here the different email addresses, and then you can see who you have invalid email addresses for, along with account balance, amount overdue, what's open, what's overdue, and even their portal status. And again, I can come up here and I've got some different filters along the top. So I can filter by account balance or overdue. I can filter by portal visits. I can filter by portal access, portal status, and contacts. This is particularly nice view. It tells you who has missing email addresses if you want to see a list of just those. Missing primary contact. So it's kind of nice to be able to filter those out so that you can then contact those customers and get a primary contact or an email address. You also have additional filters on this button. So in almost all of these views, you will have additional available filters such as these. If I would like to send an email to all of these customers, I can select all customers here. And then as you can see over on the right, I have a new message button. And if I click that new message button, it brings up the template. And it also is going to tell me who's missing contact details. In this case, we're just going to exclude those customers and proceed. So here, this gives me the ability to send a link to all of these customers with a click of one button, the send. You can even preview these if you'd like to by clicking next message here. So as I click next message, you'll see this pertinent information change. So the first one showing Shepherd Motor Works and their account balance. If I click next message, I'm going to see the next customer and their account balance and so on. If I would like to send it at this time, I can, but I can also see at the top that we've automated this email to send next on September 17th and at what time. We'll take a look at these templates here a little bit more at the towards the end here. So then additionally, I can export this list to Excel if I would like to. I can also come to the customer transactions at the top, and this is going to list an individual email for the customers. So it's going to list all of their emails. You can also sort by clicking on invoice number here, and you can choose to sort ascending, descending, you can filter and so on. We're going to sort ascending. And again, if I were to select all invoices, I can come here, click new message, but that would send out an individual email for each individual invoice. So for example, American Business Future would get, at least 4 or 5 emails, but you can do that. And then again, we've got the different filters. So we can look at open or closed invoices. We can look at invoice or credit memo, and we can look by aging category if we'd like. We simply just select one of these and then click on the gray area up here and it will filter accordingly. Likewise, we can go to a customer payments button and just see all of the different payments from our customers. And again, you've got the related transactions, so you can drill into that to see what that payment was applied to. And then if I go to my settings, this is where you have a little bit of control over how Sage Connect can work for you. So the first thing we see is our entity settings, which gives us our company details. And if we click the edit button over on the right, we can actually add a logo here by editing the logo. We can change the point of contact, the company email, and the phone number. If I come back over to the left and select users, we can see that we have a total of 6 active users within the system. These are the users that are able to interact with Sage Connect and interact with the customers that are on that portal. If you'd like to add a new user, you do so by clicking Add New User, and you can invite another colleague to work with Sage Connect. If we take a look at messaging automation rules, here is where we can set up some automation for those email templates that Sage Connect provides us with. So we can see here the next scheduled delivery, and we can click to edit this automation. When we do so, they give us some different automation rules to work with. So for recipients, we can choose to send to all customers with open and overdue, and we can actually click this to exclude customers, or we can choose just selected customers and then create our list of selected customers here. Under the configuration, we can specify which notifications we would like to send. So, and then we can also specify how many days we would like to send them before the rule. So in this case, we've selected to notify customers of invoices coming due 2 days before the due date. We've also selected to notify a customer of invoices overdue 1 day after the due date, and a second time 7 days after the due date. We can also attach invoice PDFs. If they were printed to paperless office, we just select this. When these emails go out, it will automatically attach a copy of the invoices that are being referred to, or invoice. We can set the frequency here. So back under the configuration, you'll remember we told it how often to send. And again, you can choose, up to 10 days on this one. And I think they're all this one's 15 days. So we've got some choices. And then if we go to frequency, we can tell the system how or at what time each day do we want to send out those emails. And so you can choose any time of the night or day. Well, up to 11:30. So if we made any changes, we simply click Save the Rules, close this button, and then we can access our actual templates right here. So this is a list of the templates that are built within Sage Connect. And again, we've got some filters. So there's templates based on automation, available customer management, invoice management, payment management. So again, if I come down here, I can select any one of these templates. Let's select Portal Link. And we can see here that this invites your customers to view their invoices and payments through the portal. It has been enabled for automation, and it's going to send to customers with no link daily at 8 a.m. We can disable the automation here. Here is the email itself. And if I click Preview Template at the bottom, that allows me to see the actual template and what the customer would be looking at when they get that email template. If I want to edit this template, I can click Edit Template. And so here you can see there's some data fields in there. And we can also add data fields. So they give us some fields that we can add to this email if we'd like. These would be in reference to your company. So different email or different data fields we could add. And then we've got some related to customer and the customer information, or invoice information, or payment information. So all of these templates you can edit to suit your needs a little bit better. And then if we want to add a signature, you can do so here. So I've just typed my name in. I pulled in this little file, if you will, or picture, and then added a link. And that's all done with these buttons here. So the logo tells you there's no logo uploaded for this company. You can add one by going back to the entity settings. Here you can choose to format the text. This is where you can upload the image, add a link, and you can clear the message again to re-enter it. start all over. Here's some notifications. So we've got all of these notifications turned on at this time. So we have told the system that we would like to receive a notification if the sync fails or disconnects. We want to see a weekly summary of portal visits and link activity. We'd like to email, we'd like an email when a customer sends a message through the portal. And then also get an email when customer portal access has been revoked. You can revoke portal links. This comes into play maybe if a customer has an employee that is no longer working for them. And so then you could revoke their portal link and send it to a different employee within that company. So that pretty much concludes the demo. As you can see, Sage Connect is a powerful tool to help manage your customer account balances. The automation means less work for your staff, and it can mean smarter decisions, and the integration makes for easy adoption. At this time, Sage Connect is free for all Sage 100 customers on a subscription plan that will require DSD services for setup and training. Please reach out to your DSD account manager for more details. And I'd like to thank you all for your time today.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Brenda. That was super insightful. Up next, we'll be covering InSync, and joining us is Bob.
Hello. Thank you. My name is Bob Richter, and I'm going to talk about our integration. There's a couple of components to it, so I'll just go over briefly on some of the slides here and then get into some of the details about how and what we do. We are on the Sage 100 marketplace, picture on the left, which means we've got to go through some testing and validation with Sage 100. The other slide on the right is our integration with BigCommerce, which is also on Sage 100 marketplace. And I'll get into why they're two separate things here in a moment. With any one of our integrations, there's a couple of components. There's our module that goes inside of Sage 100, which is InSync, and that's what's on the left. The second part of it is our connectors, which are one of a number of different options. The one on the right there about BigCommerce is our BigCommerce connector. So with the two, there's, you would have an integration with Sage 100 and BigCommerce. You can go to the next slide. And so what I'll do is talk about some of the different options we have about what I just mentioned earlier. So what we do is when we integrate to an external system, like a shopping cart, let's say, or Amazon, is we have a module that lives inside of Sage 100. It gets installed just like any other add-on module, whether it's a developer add-on or whether it's a, like bill of materials, for example. And then the second thing we use is a connector. The connectors, for number one, the connectors which are pre-built, we call those turnkey, meaning you come with your Sage rep and say, we want to integrate to Amazon or Shopify, or BigCommerce or WooCommerce, eBay, Walmart. Adobe Commerce is Magento, just the name change. Then we take our module in Sage 100 and we take our existing connector that we have with any one of those, and we set that up and implement that. That connector is set up to do anything that you need. We don't install a connector and then that's it. We assume that every connector that we're going to install is going to be customized and tailored to your needs of what you do with Sage 100. We do a ton of Amazon, and we can use 20 different examples of the same version of Amazon, and there are 20 different implementations where they're different because people are doing things different in Sage. For Adobe Commerce, which is Adobe Commerce, Shopify, BigCommerce, and WooCommerce, that's going to be your typical website integration, which is going to be orders out of the system into Sage 100, typically sales orders in Sage, maybe inventory item information attributes like name, standard price, things like that. It could be inventory quantities that we're updating. And it could be pricing, depending on how you have your pricing, whether it's just the plain old standard price on the item screen, or you're doing customer specific pricing or customer price level pricing. We handle all of those with Shopify, BigCommerce, WooCommerce, and Adobe Commerce. With Amazon or the marketplace, those are frequently customized where, for example, Amazon, if you're doing Amazon FBA, which is fulfilled by Amazon, meaning they're just notifying you of a sale that someone bought from you. We typically import those into invoice entry in Sage. When it's Amazon FBM, the fulfilled by merchant, we typically bring those into sales orders, and then we're also integrating quantities, prices, and shipments and tracking. The Amazon Pay is the reconciliation report, where Amazon is paying you twice or once a month, depending on your volume, and we bring that into cash receipts and or invoicing, however complex your system is, doing returns, doing any type of adjustments, and then also bringing information into cash receipts to pay invoices and also account for the Amazon commissions. Marketplace, Walmart Marketplace and eBay are similar, where it's usually inbound orders. It's almost like it's FBM, just with Walmart and eBay. And again, each one is customizable, so we could look at a BigCommerce integration. That one integration could be orders in, customers in, ship tos in, contacts in, the same going back out, items going out, create new items going out, create and update inventory quantity availability, shipments and tracking, order history, or simply orders in. And we customize the implementation and price it according to what you want to do. The next example, the custom connectors to your third-party solutions, is just an example of, at any point, any of these integrations were the first time we did it. So you could come to us and say, we have a shopping cart no one's ever heard of, they're brand new, they've got an API, we can set up a connector to it as long as there is some form of integration support. And then depending on how the integration works, depends on what we would use. Would we use one of our connectors, which basically is actively talking to the shopping cart? We could do that. We could set it up a number of ways. An example would be option number 3, which we've done frequently with companies who are doing some unique business or very vertical business with one or a few of their customers, where the customers say, we just want to send you CSV files, Excel spreadsheets, XML files, and get that same back from you. And we set up an automated FTP and move the data back and forth and customize, the system to do what you want. Those we've done a fair amount of them. It's not super popular. We can do it. It's limiting because when you do one, if you're going to do another one for somebody else, typically you get another complete layout of data going in and coming out of Sage. So, there is a bit of restriction there. The option number 4 is connected to a Microsoft or a SQL type database, where you've got web developers, at your disposal or resources on staff who want to integrate with your own website, 3PL, warehouse management system, whatever it may be, and they want to do the integration on their end and set it up according to whatever you're going to be using now versus 6 months from now. We would set up our module talking to a SQL type database. So that SQL type database could be MySQL, could be SQL Express, could be full-blown Microsoft SQL. And we would push and pull data to and from the database, and that's the extent of our work. And then your developers in-house, they would be doing the integration from their system to that database directly. Basically, they're mirror images of each other, both pushing and pulling in opposite directions, with that SQL database being in the middle. And then there's the connector API endpoints. We set up a number of endpoints so that, like number 4, if you had developers in-house or wanted to set up an API, like the Sage have an API, we've created an API to talk to our data service, which hooks into InSync. So that would be number 5, where we set those up, and they could create orders, create invoices, get customers, quantities, items, things like that. And then the intercompany is something that we do where you have a company that's, let's say they're doing e-commerce and they've got a bigger company in Sage that's doing all the fulfilling. And we set up an integration with the 2 companies, so it's not external. Sales orders get created in one company. It could create a purchase order in that company, could go back and push up to company B to create a sales order where it gets fulfilled, and then that company ships it and sends it back to the originating company, where we would create a purchase order receipt or an SO invoice. Go to the next slide. Something that we've been working with now that we've started setting up is shipping integrations, where in my previous example, we're integrating with our connector. 2 examples are ShipStation, which is quite popular, and Vico, which is something that was bought by Amazon. They're both systems where a warehouse person would work in ShipStation or Vico and be getting orders from Sage and calling up and creating shipments based on measurements and weights and where the ship to address is, getting labels. And then what we do with that is bring that information back to Sage in any number of ways, which I'll talk about briefly here in a second. So it is bidirectional, and typically it's going to be sales orders coming into Sage being filtered by some criteria. Could be every sales order that comes into Sage, could be only sales orders that belong to a certain warehouse, certain customer, multiple customers, etc. And then what we do is send those sales orders from Sage over to ShipStation or Vico. So that goes on all day long. Our connectors talk to the external system about every 90 seconds, talk to the shipping system, pushing orders, lines, etc. up. And then at some point, warehousing would go into ShipStation and say they're now going to do their shipping. They go into ShipStation. All of those orders that need to be shipped are already in ShipStation. They know the address, they know the item information, whatever we're syncing over, whether it's item numbers and quantities, or maybe not even just that, maybe it's just an address. Same thing with Vico. They both work similar. Then what happens is you finish the shipment in either ShipStation or Vico, complete the shipment and say it's ready, and then our connector also, every 90 seconds, it says, what do I need? And I'm giving you what you need. So every 90-second intervals, it's pushing the data up and asking for anything new to come back. And so those we would import back into Sage, either creating invoice data entry records, creating shipping data entry records. In some of our examples, we have users who are using scanners and warehousing functions in Sage. So they use the handhelds and create shipments in Sage, create shipping data entry records, which we then sync up to Vico or ShipStation. And then when the shipping is completed, meaning now they've got rates, they've selected the shipping carrier, they've got the labels and tracking numbers, we import those back in and automatically update the existing invoices or shipping data entry records. So, the idea here is it's not just going to do invoices and shipments or update, or it's really whatever you want. Like the last point, any of our integration projects can be customized to meet your requirements. This is where we are almost expecting to hear someone say, yeah, but we do it this way. And so we're just going to tune it so that it does what you want to do. You can go to the next screen. So it's just an example. So with ShipStation, this is an example of what we're doing for this one is they're setting up shipping data entry records in Sage, and they're creating records using a handheld, creating the shipping records in Sage, and then we're sending those over to ShipStation. And then once that information is picked and packed, labels, tracking, etc., we then bring it back into Sage and update the shipment. So we could update the address information. Maybe that got fine-tuned by an address verification system, importing tracking numbers, updating freight amounts, updating the carrier. Go ahead and go to the next screen. And this is the example of it in ShipStation, where this is the order and those items that are on that order that were in Sage 100. And so it's just, showing the information back on ShipStation that was imported from Sage 100. Okay, we can go to the next. And so
Perfect. Well, thanks.
the example. You can contact anybody at DSD for information on this.
Yes, thank you so much, Bob, for that great presentation. So now we're going to transition to our next topic, Workforce Go, which will be presented by Abe.
Thanks, Tammy. All right, so what I want to do is just talk a little bit about one of our premier solutions called Workforce Go HCM. HCM stands for Human Capital Management. Some people know it as HRIS, some people know it as payroll. It's actually a lot of different things, and that's one of the things that we'll kind of delve into today at kind of a high level. So first and foremost, Workforce Go is a cloud-enabled HCM solution that has, and this is key, an integration with Sage 100. The reason I bring this up is many of the platforms in the marketplace, especially if it's a comprehensive HCM or payroll solution, do not have any kind of an integration to a Sage 100. So when we have clients that are looking to use something that's kind of a full service, kind of a payroll that handles your tax management, handles your 940s, your 941s, for those of you who have to deal with, the Affordable Care Act, so 1094s, your year-end stuff, your W-2s, direct deposit, something like, an ADP or other solutions, Paylocity, Paycom, things like that. Workforce Go does that. But the big differentiator is that it has an integration to Sage 100 that was custom developed by Workforce Go. So that's one of the things that I want to start this presentation by talking about, because that is a huge differentiating factor. It is a unified platform. So again, it's going to elevate Sage 100 with a single modern platform for people and process management. Again, the integration focus, as I talked about, one of the very few products in the marketplace that does have a purpose-built integration. And I will say also, obviously, most of you in attendance today are probably Sage 100 users. The nice thing about this platform too is, if you ever transition off of Sage 100, I still call it Mass 90, I worked at Sage years ago, but if you ever transition from Sage 100 to maybe one of the more modern cloud-based solutions, like let's say a Sage Intacct, which of course DSD sells and supports, Workforce Go has an integration to those, to Sage 100, Acumatica, and other accounting solutions in the marketplace. So again, it's a solution that will be able to work with you now while you're using Sage 100, but then also will work if you transition to another solution as well for your ERP. You go to the next slide. So again, why integrate Workforce Go with Sage 100? One of the big things is, from an API automation standpoint, real-time bidirectional integration, eliminating manual processes. So again, not having to go back and do duplicate entry, and that impacts things in a variety of different ways. The biggest thing is obviously improved accuracy, your efficiency. Again, when you can remove duplicate entry, it's also going to get rid of potential opportunities for errors and other things that can slow down your daily processes, again, by allowing the system to work for you. A very scalable platform, and really allows you to focus on most of the critical workflows. You can go to the next slide. So again, key features and benefits. Remember, this is a single unified database, but the nice thing about it is you have so much different functionality into it. And a lot of that functionality is going to allow you to automate a variety of things that you may be currently doing manually. So by having various workflows, again, you're going to get rid of all of that manual data entry and transfers, and really automating so many of the things that you're doing on a daily basis. I cannot understate how much that really impacts our clients. We have a number of clients that are using Sage 100, Sage Intacct, Acumatica, that also use our Workforce Go platform. And again, by introducing a lot of that automation, the levels of efficiency that they're able to gain are tremendous. The other part of it, and we'll get into this a little bit later too, is the ability to really pick and choose the components of the system that you want to utilize. So again, as I kind of outlined at the beginning, comprehensive, complete system, but again, you can focus on the components that make the most sense for your business right now. The other part, of course, that's going to bring, as we talk about the benefits, is again, I talked about a lot of that error management. By having the integrations and by having the systems automatically synced up, again, besides the efficiency, you're really going to get rid of a lot of those errors that can happen, again, from having to enter things in the system multiple times. Another huge component is going to be very easy maintenance. Again, this being a cloud-based product, you don't have to really have a lot of outside consultation. Our team will do the implementation of it. We do the training, and again, if you need us, like you have currently with DSD, you have the ability to reach out to our consultants, but the system is designed to be pretty self-sufficient. And this also means too that you don't have to do a lot of the quarterly updates and things like you may have to do with your current payroll system. You know, a lot of that stuff, again, is taken care of for you. But again, our team is here to be able to support you in any capacity that you do need. We certainly don't just send you out into the cold to use the system. We hold your hand the entire time, because again, our goal is to make sure you have a good implementation so that you can feel very comfortable and confident as you and your team utilize the product, hopefully for many years. Next slide, please. So again, I talked a little bit about, you know, HR and a payroll suite kind of all in one. So again, the idea here is having a solution that can really be kind of a hire to fire and encompass everything in between. So the goal is to really provide you, if you, again, have the need to do so, with a total solution that does everything for you. You know, we want to have something that's going to handle all of those various aspects. Again, from being able to post positions, to identifying potential candidates for interviewing, to being able to hire the appropriate people and welcome them into your organization, onboarding them, and then all the components that go along with it. Things that happen, like obviously being able to select their benefits, working with whatever benefit carriers you may have now, or if you need help finding various benefit carriers, again, that's something, one of the services we can also assist with. Obviously, things like employee management. So again, I use the example of either being able to not only manage personal, employee information, but also things like company property. So I think as I'm onboarding someone, being able to give them, if they get something like obviously a company handbook or policy guide, being able to make sure all that stuff is executed, but also if there's any company property they're given a company laptop, cell phone, a company polo shirt, whatever that is, being able to monitor and keep up with all that. Having the ability for them to be able to use an online portal to be able to request time off, see their time off calendars. There's so much there. And then obviously from the payroll side of it, we talked a little bit before about handling all of the tax filing elements, obviously handling employee payouts. There's just so many things there, performance management, learning management. I could go on, but I want to just keep this relatively high level. But there's a tremendous amount there. And again, with the modularity you have, you can really kind of pick and choose what you need. So again, selecting the components that are most critical to you right now, knowing that you have the ability to expand later as you need, but knowing that this is a full-blown comprehensive system that I think is the equal or even superior in many instances to many of the very popular platforms that are in the marketplace now. But again, one of the key differentiators is not only the integration to Sage 100 and some of the other solutions that we talked about from an accounting standpoint, but also the DSD team is the one that actually supports you. So you're not calling into 800 numbers when they outsource, to other places, sometimes outside of the United States. You're dealing with the DSD team here and our partners at Workforce Go as needed, who are housed down in the Dallas, Texas area. So next slide, please. So again, we talked about it, the real world benefits from a compliance standpoint, and compliance is something I could do a webinar all on my own talking about the importance of having that. But again, being able to automate pay calculations, time tracking, mitigating compliance risk. Again, nothing is worse than having a time system, and time and attendance is probably, if I were to talk about the most popular modular component that we get with a lot of Sage 100 users, it's around time and attendance. I'm sure I don't have to tell many of you that are on this call that obviously if you have a situation where you have errors in time, either collecting it or making sure that people are being paid the appropriate overtime or things like that. And obviously if you have things like any kind of unions or certified payroll, there's other components to it that are critical that you just cannot miss. So being able to make sure that all of that is done in the appropriate system is tremendous. Obviously a cost savings, again, as you can see here, it avoids added additional effort and the charges of the manual system and all those different components. But again, if you tie it back to a compliance standpoint, you can even factor in the cost that you would potentially have to pay if you had a situation where you had a dispute with a current or former employer over something as critical as time and attendance, by not having a good system to be able to capture that time and then to make sure and connect it, collect it, and then have it work with your accounting solution. So if you're, again, doing things like job costing and things of that nature, it also comes into play as well from being efficient with your time and then also being able to manage against overtime and things of that nature. And then lastly, of course, again, streamline administration, simplifying HR. There's so many incredible reports. It's a real drag and drop kind of a dashboard. So very modern, very clean. And I really like the user experience. You don't have to be a technical genius to be able to manipulate the system once it's been configured by our team specifically to your needs. So things like timekeeping, scheduling, and all the various reports are absolutely tremendous. And then the ability to build a lot of custom reports. Once again, we have a lot of familiarity with a lot of the pain points with Sage 100 users. So a lot of you are familiar with dealing with things like Crystal reports and others, being able to do a lot of those reports that are normally custom and having to be built out in that system, being able to have those reports, a lot of them, because there are hundreds of standard reports, are already built in the system. And then you can even take some of the standard reports that are more specific to a particular area, and you can actually tweak them and kind of build your own custom reports. Plus, there's a very user-friendly custom report writer inside of the software as well. And again, the DSD team is there to help you as needed with that, should you need it. Next slide, please. So again, future-proofing, long day, your workforce management. Number one thing, if I could hopefully impact upon you in this conversation, is, again, a total system that handles all the elements that you would need for your workforce management, hire to fire. But again, the ability for you to really pick and choose the components that are most critical for you. So again, it can do everything like a lot of the big companies that you've seen out there. But the nice thing about it is, if you identify time and attendance and as your primary pain point, we are happy to engage with you, because we've had a lot of customers that have had those exact same issues, especially Sage 100 users, and we've been able to really get in there to help them as it relates to time. Workforce Go, our partners there, did a great job of making sure when they created the interface, they put a lot of time, and their developers put a lot of research into understanding how it needed to communicate to Mass 90. I'm sorry, I keep calling it Mass 90. I'm old Sage 100, because it is a legacy product. But having the ability to understand how that system works, and even some of the add-on I call them modules for Sage 100, but things like job costs and others, and understanding how all those pieces need to tie together was a critical part of how they developed this integration. So again, know that you could engage with us and we'd be happy to talk to you about any of the components. But realistically, if you wanted to start small with a particular area, we're happy to delve in there. So next slide. Perfect. Thanks for your time today.
Well, thank you so much, Brenda, Abe, and Bob, for that amazing presentation. Everyone, if you have any additional questions after today, please feel free to reply to any of the emails that you received from us, and our team will be super happy to assist you. With that, I'd like to thank our presenters for their presentation today, and thank all of you for joining us. We truly appreciate your time and look forward to connecting with you again soon.